If you had to pick only one new release for 2025 that you wanted to read this year, what would you say that book is going to be? If you're new here, hi, I'm Kerstin, and today I'm going to be sharing the 5 most anticipated releases that I have coming out this year, as well as 5 releases that I still want to get to from last year. Something that worked really well for my intentional reading last year was to have an ongoing Excel spreadsheet of new releases that were coming out any given month. But having that list be really pared down, in fact, it never was more than 5 books for any one given month. So not only am I going to be doing that again this year, but I also wanted to go through and think about which of the new releases coming out this year that I know of at this point in time were the ones that I'm most excited about. On top of that, you can't help but spend the end of any given year listening to all of the amazing books that people loved from that past year. So I also have a list of new releases that came out last year that I still want to get access to, and these are ones that maybe I had my eye on over the course of that year and it just didn't happen for whatever reason, or ones that have been bumped up a little bit based on what other people are saying at the end of the year. If I had to give you 2 all-time favorite authors for me, it would be 2 authors who happen to both be publishing books this year. The first of which is The Amber Owl by Juliet Marillier. I am so excited for this. Juliet Marillier is not only one of my favorite authors in terms of consistency, but she is also the author of my favorite book of all time, Daughter of the Forest. And so I am a little bit excited, you could say, but also a little bit nervous to see what this book is going to give me. However, I do anticipate getting having some difficulty in getting access to this book. It is being published with a very small, either New Zealand or Australian based publisher, so I don't know that I'm going to be able to rely on my library for this one. This does have a pretty long synopsis, so I am just going to give you the gist of it. So Stasia lives in an isolated farming village on the edge of the mysterious Heartwood Forest with her unusual dog for company. Thought odd by the locals, she is tolerated for her rare gift with animals. The peace of Heartwood is shattered when a group of soldiers descends under orders from the rulers of the Northlands. They are to hack a path through the forest and find the fabled treasure said to lie deep within. The forest is alive with bears and wolves, and the old tales speak of evil spirits, monsters, and uncanny beings. Nobody has ever gone deep into Heartwood Forest and returned safe and well. Prepare to hear, I'm really excited a lot in this video, but of course I am very excited for this. Juliet Marillier tends to have really strong female characters, really woodsy, earthy settings that just speak to me, and like overall vibe that is amazing and something that I generally get on with. So I'm really looking forward to this, and I hope that I can get a copy at least in the first half of the year would be ideal. Hard hitter number 2 here, and that is my other favorite author of all time, Guy Gavriel Kay, releasing a book in 2025, Written on the Dark. I'm not gonna lie, his last few books have still been amazing, but maybe not like my personal all-time favorites with this author. So with every new release that he puts out, I am always like equal amounts or equal parts excitement and nervous. Either Goodreads is glitching in this moment, or the only thing that we have here about this is from the internationally best-selling author of Tigana, All the Seas of the World and A Brightness Long Ago, comes a majestic new novel of love and war that brilliantly evokes the drama and turbulence of medieval France, which is also, maybe not the medieval part, but France is also the setting of one of his other books that is like one of my all-time favorite books, A Song for Our Bond, which is up on the shelf here. So I am really looking forward to this. It also means that, and it seems like it is a breakaway from the setting and time period of his last 3 books that were all kind of connected. So I am really excited, ecstatic, thrilled to be getting back into a Guy Gavriel Kay book. He is an auto-buy author for me, so I will be definitely sourcing whatever copy or version of this I find the most pleasing to me. So looking forward to getting to that, and that one is coming out in May. I do have some video plans regarding this author, so stay tuned around this time for that. Next up is Holy Terrors by Margaret Owen. This book is on my priority reads list as well. This is the conclusion to the Little Thieves trilogy. I am so excited for this conclusion. Margaret Owen is just killing me on Instagram, like giving us little tidbits, little lines and phrases leading me into this book. She's also been releasing a collection of short stories through her that you can get the link to through her Instagram. I will link it as well down below, that take place during the time period that is in between the second and third books. This series started out with Little Thieves, which was a Goose Girl retelling where we are following the usually villainous perspective of the sorceress who steals the identity of a princess. Vanya is not a sorceress. She is an epic con artist who was using her access, or like this access that granted her as a princess, to moonlight as a jewel thief to steal from everybody. So that is what you're getting with Vanya. I have seen the occasional, I have really tried to avoid it, but I have seen the occasional like snippet on Instagram shared by the author of people reacting to their advanced reader copy of Holy Terrors, and I am nervous. I don't need it to like go a certain way, but I need it to have a certain feeling with the ending of that relationship and the series at large. Definitely it is turned into one of my favorite series of all time, and I am both terrified and excited to get the conclusion. Then we have The Memory Hunters by Tsai. This one was the only other one that was also on my priority reads list in that new release category. And Tsai is the author to Bitter Medicine, which is one of the most underhyped romantasy books that I think is out there. I read it a couple years ago when it came out and absolutely loved it. If you want to hear more about Bitter Medicine, I do have an underhyped video that you can check out where I talk a little bit about that one. But I will say The Memory Hunters sounds completely different. It is coming out on my birthday, so I feel like that is a particularly good omen and perhaps will be a birthday gift to myself. We'll see. This one has a million like comps here, so let me go. Archaeological heist intrigue of Indiana Jones. Mind-bending speculative conceits of Inception. Dark academia adjacency of the cloisters and dystopian climate disasters of How High We Go in the Dark, or the 5th season, with a queer love story in the Appalachian-influenced setting. A memory hunter and her bodyguard unearth a terrible secret about the foundations of their society in this twisty, propulsive science fantasy set in a world where generations of memories are etched in blood. I'm gonna leave it there. I have been eagerly anticipating to see what Tsai would release ever since reading Bitter Medicine, so that is finally happened and I am excited. And then the final one here on my 2025 anticipated releases list is The River Has Roots, the author of which is Amal el Mohtar. Now this is the author, or one of the authors, for This Is How You Lose the Time War, which I absolutely loved. I have also checked out another book by the other co-author for that book, Max Gladstone, who definitely did more of the sci-fi world building in Time War, but it is the beautiful lyrical writing, I believe, provided by Amal el Mohtar that was more the fit with me, and I am super excited to hear that they have a book coming out. In the small town of Thistleford, on the edge of Faerie, dwells the mysterious Hawthorne family. There they tend and harvest the enchanted willows and honor an ancient compact to sing to them in thanks for their magic. None more devotedly than the family's latest daughters, Esther and Isabel, who cherish each other as much as they cherish the ancient trees. But when Esther rejects a forceful suitor in favor of a lover from the land of Faerie, not only the sisters' bond, but also their lives will be at risk. I will say that there are things about this that are not my most favorite things. I don't always gel with stories regarding sisters. Sorry, P-Dot is having a nap, or a dream, I mean. So I don't always gel with sister stories, and there's like the, fairy element that could perhaps be underdone. I think that this must be a novella because says it's only 144 pages. But regardless, I am really curious to see what Amal el Mohtar will do on their own. I am eagerly anticipating this for March. Okay, editing Kerstin popping in to make a slight correction. So I have this as one of my 2025 new releases, and that's because in North America, it is coming out in 2025. It's coming out in March. However, If you are in the UK or if you get access to your books through a European library, it already came out at the end of 2024. It came out in December of 2024. So I'm going to keep this on my 2025 lists. I do actually technically already have access to it through my European library, but I'm not going to change this whole video just for that one little mix-up. So there we have it. If you're in North America, this book is a 2025 release coming out in March. However, if you're in the UK, it's already out. Now let's get into the 5 books that came out in 2024 that I still want to read. The first of which, On Vicious Worlds. I did my best not to include too many sequels on both the last 5 books and this 5, but I could not include this book. These Burning Stars was such a breakout book for me last year. I absolutely loved it. Huge surprise, a sci-fi book that really worked for me, where the sci-fi world building was not an obstacle to my enjoyment of reading. It was a cat and mouse chase spanning time and planets and the craziest characters ever. I am excited to get more into the nitty-gritty of the religious order that I feel or hear that we delve a little bit more into with On Vicious Worlds. My only issue is that I haven't been able to get a copy of this. So my library, despite having the first book, has not picked up the second book. So I have obviously requested it. I'm going to keep trying, and I will do everything that I can to find access to On Vicious Worlds this year because I desperately need to keep reading in this series. Another one that I actually didn't have my eye on all that much last year, but that I have since reflected and decided that I would like to check it out, and that is Lady Macbeth by Ava Reid. I have only ever read one other book by Ava Reid, and that was Drowning Deep, and I really enjoyed the writing. I feel like Ava Reid is similar to Emily Henry in that I feel like if you like the writing itself, it's just a matter of finding the specific right book that author has written for you. They all have different like themes and stories and vibes that if you find the right combination of that for you and you happen to also like the writing, then it's going to be like a new favorite book. So while I really enjoyed A Drowning Deep, it just wasn't like a new favorite, but I really loved the writing. So I am curious to see if Lady Macbeth, which is a retelling obviously of the Shakespeare story Macbeth, however from Lady Macbeth's perspective and sort of telling her backstory, which honestly is a setup that can go well or not well. I just like love this cover, would buy this cover if I could. So I'm hoping that this particular Ava Reid book is going to be the one that just like fits perfectly. I had a really fun time reading Macbeth when I was in school. Also, look at this cover. It's perfection. Classic example of people's favorites list at the end of the year influencing you to pick up a book is Asunder, written by Kerstin. This book was on so many people's lists. I absolutely had to check it out. I feel like this is a very classic example of a book that is beloved by a certain like section, a certain little corner of the book world, but that has not yet found that breakout reach. It has only 707 ratings, but was like on so many people's top lists that I was aware of. So I am really curious to read this, I guess, essentially underhyped book. In this book, we're following Karis Eska, who is a death speaker. She has the ability to like peer past the veil between the worlds in order to speak to people who have recently been died to see what they have to say. How she gets this through a compact with a demon who at any point could call in the compact and she could be like forced to serve him eternally in wherever it is that these demons live? That's the word. However, at the start of the book, she is doing a particular job where that goes awry, she runs into someone, ends up saving their life, but does so in a way that accidentally binds this person to her. And from there, we're trying to figure out how to separate the two of them without harming either one, or possibly like before they self-destruct, essentially. And also they might be on the run from like some political machinations. So it is interesting. It has a crazy world, like really crazy world building that I would almost compared to Heart and Mercy, not in the similarities, but in the way in which they're just like, oh, and then I got onto this hound that maybe doesn't have a head and is sort of like a dog, but that you can ride around the city like a taxi that you don't have to pay for. Or the Silkess, which is like this ginormous spider that travels between the worlds in order to like travel great distances, but you like walk into it and there's like a full suite of rooms with plumbing and you're just like, Okay. I kind of like when authors are this bold with their world building to just be like, don't worry about it. It'll be okay. Just follow along. I would also like to read the Stardust Grail by Yume Kitasei from last year. This is a new release that I did have my eye on this past year, and I have in fact had several opportunities to take it out from the library. It just has never been the right timing, but I do still really want to read it. I read and enjoyed The Deep Sky by this author previously, and I think even like The Deep Sky was on my list last year of books from 2023 that I wanted to check out. And so it's almost just perfect that it is now on this list as well. And this one is being referred to as a thrilling anti-colonial space heist to save an alien civilization. It sounds like our main character used to be an art thief who would steal stolen artifacts from various alien civilizations in order to like return them to their home planets, I'm assuming. But a job went awry and she's been in hiding ever since, until of course she is offered a job that she just can't refuse. Maya sets out on a breakneck quest through a universe teeming with strange life and ancient ruins, but the farther she goes, the more her visions cast a dark shadow over her team of friends, new and old. Someone will betray her along the way. Worse yet, in choosing to save one species, she may condemn humanity and Earth itself. The final one of the 2024 releases that I still really want to get to, I will admit, has pretty mixed reviews from the people that I have heard talking about it, and that is Long Live Evil by Rees Brennan. I feel like 2024 had a plethora of books written from main characters who were like, well, I guess I'll be the villain then. We are following a main character who I believe in our world has terminal cancer, and she is visited by, I think, somebody from one of her favorite book series. I don't remember how this specific part goes from what I've heard, but she's given the opportunity to enter into the world of her favorite book series in order to find a cure. However, she never read the first book in this series. I know, how unlikely is that, etc. And so she's a little bit iffy on the details of what happens at the beginning, and when she finds herself placed into this world, she's actually one of the villains of the story and not like the main character, etc. While it does have mixed reviews, I still really want to give it a try. Like, there's something that is still drawing me to this book regardless of mixed reviews. I have heard that it's like very on the nose in terms of like calling out or playing with certain older classic fantasy kind of tropes. Like, I feel like maybe it is like a mockery almost of like bro fantasy, which could be fun, and I'm curious to see what this author has done with this setup that was so popular last year. So those are the 5 most anticipated releases I have my eye on for this year, as well as 5 from last year that I still want to get to. What's a book from last year that you still want to get to? Maybe it's one that you saw on everybody's best of favorites at the end of the year and you just like have to pick it up now. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content that I make here, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day. Bye.